Side detective and retired chief of detectives Brian Foley joins us now to discuss. Brian, great to have you here in person.
Morning.
What are investigators doing right now to, one, figure out why this happened, but two, to make sure the area is all clear, make sure that there are no booby traps left behind?
Yeah. Well, so what they want to know is what you said, the motive and the
exactly.
act alone. So right now, cops are applying for search warrants for cell phone records, computer records, search warrants for his residence, vehicles, everything.
DVNR profiles, probably a furry.
Good move that they did move the body. There'll be an autopsy. The autopsy is going to go a long way of the suspect to determine whether or not he acted alone and this was in fact indeed a suicide. Gunshot residue on his hands if he pulled the trigger himself when if he killed himself. That'll show the closeness of proximity of where the barrel of the firearm was to his body when he killed himself. That'll determine whether he acted alone.
Oh yeah,
the
right.
motive,
That's somebody shooting.
most of the motive is going to come out of the search and seizure warrants, you know, based on his footprints and social media, his footprints on where his cell phone was, where he traveled. Very interesting investigation. I think it was a great move for them to move the suspect's body prior to the fire getting to him, because that kept your GSR, your gunshot residue, with him in the autopsy to determine whether he was indeed a suicide.
That's one of the ways that they can tell, by the way. So, like, if you, well, one of the ways that the police can decide whether a person is able, you know, like shot themselves or was killed, is the, I think it's like the gunpowder, and like there's residue that like the bullet leaves. There's blood splatter. Yeah, sure. I just don't know enough about that, but I know about that for sure. The trajectory, yeah, powder burns, exactly.
The call was placed by a Kootenai County deputy while these events were unfolding. Listen here.
Any day now.
No, we don't have that.
Oh, we don't have that, but I will say what he said. We have an emergency situation taking place in the district area. There's an active shooter at a fire. There's potentially 2 battalion chiefs down. If you put yourself in the perspective of these firefighters going to an emergency situation completely unaware that these events were going to be unfolding with a gunman gunning them down. So do you think this person that was found dead near the scene started the fire, shot these firefighters, and then shot him?
His parents, he and his parents are Trump supporters?
Friendly down here, friendly down here.
Whoa, okay. Do you think that, like, now I'm like, oh man, oh no. Wait, one of our guys did this? Wait, I think...
Don't get up, because it looks like you're having a moment. So carry on, because when you sell your car to Clutch, we do all the heavy lifting. Get a firm cash offer in seconds. Just choose a time for us to pick up your car. And you get paid on the spot. Done. Sell your car 100% online. That's Clutch.
If you're in Canada and have over $10,000 of debt, payday loans, credit cards, or lines of credit that you can't pay off or get to zero, first of all, don't worry, you're not alone. And here's the good news. We can make the next year better for you. Within 48 hours, you could be eligible to get rid of up to 80% of those debts. All you have to do is apply to check if you're eligible. Click the button below this video right now. Fill out the short questionnaire on the next page, and that's it. You're on your way to debt freedom. Your case will be reviewed by a licensed debt relief specialist from your home province. Our experts are licensed by the federal government to negotiate debt settlements with your creditors. They can negotiate a lower total amount of debt for you. Maybe you're paying $600 or $700 a month. How would it change if you were only paying $200 or $300 a month? That would be extra cash for you to spend on your family, kids, holiday gifts, or save for a vacation or new car. Click the button below right now. Fill out the short questions on the next page and see if you're eligible for a debt relief program in your province today.
Innocent. Guys, I think he's innocent. Oh no, it's a guy that agrees with me politically. That means he didn't actually do the shooting. Oh, of course. Well, no, he got set up by the deep state. It's George Soros paid him to make a false flag to make Donald Trump look bad, so he's gonna make everybody transsexual and gay. Go back to Twitter, you fucking retard.
himself.
I do. You look at 2012 in Webster, New York, a very similar type of situation. The guy set his house on fire and his car on fire. He shot 4 firefighters upon their arrival, fatally killing 2. It's a very eerily similar situation. Fire departments, when they're responding since 9/11, have been extra cautious. I can tell you, these are first responders killed in the line of duty. You'd think every investigation is handled the same. It doesn't matter who the victim is. But we all know the truth is a little different. When you kill a cop, when you kill a fireman in the line of duty, all the resources are coming.
You pull aggro. Like anybody who played GTA knows that.
Local, state, and they're all going to be pushed into this investigation. They'll be able to determine very quickly as to whether he did act alone, what that motive around somewhere that'll tell us why he did what he did.
We had a similar tragedy in Connecticut a few years ago that you know all too well. In that instance, it was police officers that were killed in Bristol, but it was an ambush. It was an ambush nonetheless. What leads someone to ambush any first responder like this?
Mental illness.
A trigger, all right?
Mental illness. That's what it is every single time. I think all of the people in all of these shooters are mentally ill. And I think actually a lot of the gang shooters are also mentally ill, but the mental illness they have is manifested differently. So, like, really, and this is the problem, is that but I think that we have a tremendous amount of leeway that we give to people who exhibit symptoms of antisocial violent behavior. And I think that the problem is that if you don't socialize those people and you don't hold them accountable for their behavior, they turn into Carmelo or they turn into this fucking retard, right? That's it.
It's kind of like a beacon, like...
We're in an extreme global mental health crisis. We are. This is a massive mental health crisis. And also keep in mind, this is happening in Europe too. In Europe, they're using guns and cars, or sorry, knives and cars, but they're still doing the same thing. This is something that's happening all over the Western world. I don't know what's happening like in China, right? Who knows? But like I know that in Europe, this is a problem. In America, it's a problem, etc. Maybe just ban guns. Well, then people just drive cars through crowds, like in Germany. Like every month, there's somebody who drives a car through a crowd in Germany. Like, obviously, and also, by the way, I'm not going to ban. I'd rather run the risk of getting shot and be able to protect myself with a gun. The only people that want to ban guns are people who think that they're never going to need to protect themselves with a gun. If somebody breaks into your house, the only thing that you can do is protect yourself with a gun. I know you and one has a bat or a stick or something like that, and it's at night, and you're not ready for it, you're dead, man. You're dead. There's no way that you're going to come out ahead unless you have a gun. It doesn't matter if you're Bruce Lee.
So now something happened in their life for them to get triggered. If you look at what happened in Bristol, they got pulled over by the cops. So what happened in this man's life to make him want to go after firefighters? That's odd. I always think sovereign citizen is someone out there in the that lives in remote areas like that.
I don't think it's a sovereign citizen. They're too young for that. They're only didn't it say this person was only 20 years old? They're way too young for that.
That's just a guess at this point. Again, investigators, you have the feds, when Uncle Sam brings his resources, everything happens pretty quickly. And you can see that happen with the helicopters, with the stuff, the technology they had to find that cell phone. People ping, where you get a search warrant for somebody, and you're pinging that specific one cell phone. That technology to find a signal on its own. That might not work on 6th Avenue in New York City, but out in that wilderness there, you can isolate on a single cell phone fairly easily if you have
I think people very, very strongly underestimate the types of technologies and resources that the government has that they can engage if they choose to.
Technology, and
they usually just don't choose to.
Being sent to the station, Bongino already said on X, the FBI is on its way, already there, and assets are headed to the direction of Idaho as well. Really quickly, does this seem like personal vendetta to you?
You mean like he targeted a certain firefighter? No, it doesn't at all. that'd be really.
It's 3 people.
It'd be almost impossible to
3
make sure
people
you have
were
that right
engaged.
firefighter based on staffing, when they show,
No,
proximity,
if he was
what
targeting,
calls are going on. No, this.
If you wanted to target a specific firefighter, he'd know who they are. You can look up their house in public registry and just go to their house and kill them in their sleep. So that's not what it was. I mean, like, obviously, you can't apply normal logic to, like, you know, like mass shooter people, because usually they're just stupid. But at the same time, I think that's more likely, right? Like, you know, like that guy that showed up like as the police outfit. That was a smart guy. That guy had his shit planned out, and it took a while to get him. And that was after killing lawmakers, multiple ones.
Seems like he just wanted to go out and make a statement against him. It feels like, again, against the government itself.
Brian Foley, thank you for joining us. Sad morning, but your insight invaluable. We
Thanks,
appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's something sketchy about the whole thing.
I'm Steve Doocy.
Do you think there's?
Yeah, I like to swing. And I like to get cash back when I swing. Just download the browser extension and shop as usual. And click to activate cashback or coupons at hundreds of stores. Cha-ching.
For someone who was, thinking and considering a switch over to tax cycle, I would say pop into my office for 5 minutes, and I will show you the return. And once you see that, that will be all the proof.
The one thing that I love about tax cycle is the support that you get from the company and the support they provide for the user community. So if you ever have an idea or a process that you think would help with the software, just throw it out there. Go take it in, go back, tinker around with it, and the next update, it'll be there.
The roll forward was super easy. There just wasn't as much time to learning it as I thought. There was a few things that worked differently. Many of them work much better than what I was used to, so I was surprised by that. The time that I'm spending on a client file now is really value added. So clients really appreciate that. They love the fact that I'm spending time on them.
Sketchy about it? I don't know. Like, let me see. This is the. So this is who it is. So we're building up to it, right?
A gut-wrenching story out of Idaho. A procession lining the freeway early this morning in Spokane, Washington, saluting the 2 firefighters who lost their lives during an ambush attack, but also sent a 3rd firefighter to the hospital. The as-yet unidentified suspect is accused of starting a brush fire in a northern Idaho mountain range in an effort to lure first responders into a trap. He then acted as a sniper to shoot at them.
I'm the kind of person that there are so people of a political affiliation doing violence are different than people doing violence because of political affiliation. Like, these are 2 very different things.
Arrived on scene to fight the blaze. The suspected gunman was found hours after the shooting by police in a wooded area with a weapon near his body. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Campagno here with my co-host Harris Faulkner, and also joining us today, Marie Hart, Fox News contributor and former State Department spokesperson under President Obama.
Yeah, they found who it is.
Rosanna Scotto, Fox 5 New York anchor and
Do you know if it's political yet?
Underground Economy.
It's unlikely that it's political if you're shooting firemen. They're like, firemen are not politicized really in any way. So, I mean, you all, and there's also, like, you have to keep in mind that inside of the mind of a crazy person, things that might seem normal to you are intensely political. So, like, for example, do you remember that guy that blew up the IVF facility because he was an anti-natalist and he thought that all humans should die? There are, like, levels of, like, political delusion that exist that transcend normal Overton window conversations. And so, like, you can't rule that out.
On Fox Nation, and John Yoo, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General, UC Berkeley Law Professor, and former Justice Clarence Thomas Law Clerk.
He also blew himself
now
up.
First, let's go to Chief Correspondent Jonathan Hunt, live on the ground in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, with the latest. Jonathan.
Emily, some breaking news for you via the Associated Press.
which is now reporting that law enforcement officials are telling them that the identity of the gunman in this tragic incident is Wes Rowley, as the Associated Press reports it. We believe he is in the region of 20 years old. We do not know anything else about that alleged gunman.
We really have to look at why is it that so many young men are turning towards extremism. Whether it's extreme communism, extreme red pill, extreme religion, or extreme violence. We really have to look at why this is happening. Like, did you just assume the gender? Yeah. Yeah, 95% of these people are men. You go look at prisons and look at all the murders, 95% men. Yeah, this is a guy issue. And white? That's not really true. I mean, like, the thing is that, like, in terms of school shooters, I think that, yeah, a lot of them end up being white. But in terms of all kinds of shooters, no, there's everybody. Look at all the gang shootings there. Those are primarily non-white. No, absolutely not. Like, this isn't a white people bad thing. I think that, honestly, I think that the problem and the existential issue that a lot of these men face, like young men face, like if you're a 19-year-old guy, I think that fundamentally, like at a very core level, a gangbanger in, Chirac is not completely different than an isolated incel in Idaho. I think that, like, in a lot of cases, if you look at both of their lives, it's going to be the same thing. Am I crazy for saying gangbang? Yeah, somebody who's going around shooting people for gangs. Yeah, absolutely. What do you want me to call him? Do you want me to call him I don't know, like a good, a promising young man? No. They're awful. They're criminals. Yeah, no, absolutely. You mean gang member or gangbanger? I don't know. I think that's an old. Maybe it's an antiquated term. Yeah, a gang member. Like maybe that's confusing because we usually don't use that term anymore. Yeah, a gang member from one of these gangs. I don't think is completely different from an incel from one of these like random schools. I think that if you look at like a lot of their life experiences and a lot of it, and you distill it down to like base core concepts, I think you will find more similarities than differences.
Point. Meantime, investigators, of course, still trying to piece together everything that happened here. Last night, the bodies of the two firefighters who were killed were removed from the mountain here. They were shot dead, having gone to battle a fire around 1:30 p.m. Pacific time in the mountains here, but within minutes of arriving, found themselves instead facing sniper fire.
Disclose TV posted what appears to be the shooter transitioning. Bullshit. I'm not gonna play that up. I'm not gonna it's a trans person because they have long hair. Get the fuck out of here.
A hidden sniper opening fire on them, prompting a frantic emergency call from another firefighter. Listen here.
We need law enforcement up here immediately. We've got another Coeur d'Alene firefighter down. We've got two unresponsive battalion chiefs, gunshot wounds, multiple gunshot wounds. Two Coeur d'Alene firefighters are down. I'm pinned down. It's clear to me that this fire was set intentionally to draw us in.
Police, SWAT teams and FBI agents rushed to the scene, around 300 officers in all. And for some time, they continued to take sniper fire, with the sheriff saying it was clearly a trap that was set. Listen to the sheriff.
Yeah.
You know, when you have an environment where you don't know where the bullets are coming from because of the trees and the shrubbery and what have you, it is daunting for police officers, let alone firefighters who are there just to put out the fire. So it's very, very difficult. Very difficult for drones or helicopters to see.
Why are more people violent today than they were decades ago? What's changed in those decades? One of the big reasons why is that there are a lot of tools of socialization that existed in previous cultures that no longer exist in current cultures. So I think that some of the big reasons why that happens. Number one, you have a lack of faith, and that is faith inside, and this is a general term, but I am using it primarily in terms of a religion, is that there is no guiding North Star or moral principle of society anymore that really tethers together the moral fabric. And so, in a lot of countries, you have a predominant ideology, or at least in America, you have a predominant religion. So that religion, obviously religion can manifest in bad ways, but for most people in most religions, it manifests in good ways, and it acts as an ordering force in their life, and it creates an additional deterrent that keeps them away from doing bad things that exists outside of the corporeal realm as an existential accountability measure, like going to hell, for example, or if you die a martyr or something like that, you have virgins whenever you die or something. There's a million examples of this, but they exist in this facet. So that's number one. Number two is a breakdown in society. So you don't have anymore what are referred to as third places. So for example, it's bullshit. No, it's not. It's not. I'm sorry. I know that there's a lot of atheists, and I'm an atheist too. I don't think that it's necessary. It's not necessary for me, but you have to be able to think outside of your own mind. Stop thinking from your own decision-making apparatus and start thinking from the mind of another person. So, stop thinking about how you think and then assuming everybody else thinks like that. And let's see here. How's faith working out in Gaza? I don't know. Why don't you ask the IDF? And so anyway, the fact is that with a lot of ask Hamas, which again are terrorists. I mean, are we going to act like everybody there is doing that? Again, listen, religion has a huge ordering effect of society, and I think that it is a massive important thing to have for a huge contingency of the population. I know that a lot of people might not like that, but I think that it's true. And I think that to the extent that we have divorced religion from popular culture and society, political dogma, ideology, intersectionality, sexual identity, gender identity has replaced religion. So it's not like we've gotten rid of religion. We've simply replaced religion with somehow an even more retarded version of religion. Somehow Noah's Ark seems a little bit more believable than transitioning and saying that you're a woman means that you can compete against other biological women in sports. Fuck, can we just go back to Noah's Ark? That made more sense. And so anyway, no, that's the way, so that's number one. You have no third spaces, so that means that's besides work, you're not going to the skating park anymore. You're not going to a land center. You're not going to church. You're not going to a coffee shop. And so people live inside of these isolated bubbles on the internet that increasingly radicalize them until they pop off like this. That's the reason. And you have also a breakdown of the family structure. Many of these people have absent parents, single parents, or a even worse parental structure. There's a lot of reasons why these things happen. And I think that if you break it down and you look at it, it actually makes a lot of sense. And by the way, those are some of the reasons. I'm giving you some reasons. I can't give you every reason. somewhere someone's blaming video games. I'm sure somebody has killed somebody else over a video game at some point in time. I just don't really think it's a recurring thing.
So this was a total ambush, taken by surprise.
After several hours, members of a SWAT team discovered the body of a man. He was dead. There was a weapon nearby. And at that point, the sheriff declared that there was no longer a threat. And just to repeat the breaking news, the Associated Press reporting that the shooter has been identified to them by law enforcement.
Wayfair's Canada Day clearance is on now. Score summer savings like up to 50% off outdoor, up to 50% off living room, and up to 70% off rugs. All with fast shipping right to your door. Shop Wayfair's Canada Day clearance now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
I'm here to save you, like you are here to save.
Officials as a young man called Wes Rowley. As for the condition of the wounded firefighter who was also evacuated from the mountain, he went through emergency surgery last night. The sheriff at that point described him as fighting for his life. We are told this morning that he is in stable condition. One small piece of good news in this terrible tragedy.
Based firefighters.
Indeed. Thank you so much. Rosanna, I cannot imagine a worse scenario than our brave first responders rushing to a fire to put it out and just ambushed, totally unprotected, and now to learn that likely the fire was started to lure them in. It's just abjectly terrifying.
So, Emily, you know, I'm glad they have the suspected gunman in custody.
Well, he did, right?
He's now passed.
Yeah.
I don't care about him. I don't want to know his motive. I don't want to know his name. I don't want to know his background, his childhood, nothing. He killed 2 innocent firefighters who were...
I think that you have to figure out, like, I think reading these people's manifestos, I agree with her perspective. And I would even agree with not showing their faces. But I think understanding who they are and knowing why they did it helps create a profile for other people that do this in the future. Because I'll be honest, I think that a lot of the same people, like it seems pretty easy to profile these people.
Running towards danger. They are unsung heroes.
I see her
the
perspective,
people in that
though.
community
Of course I do.
lined the roadways yesterday as they brought their bodies to the morgue. I don't want to know about this guy. I want to know more about those unsung heroes.
Thanks for 10
That's who I want to know about this morning.
Harris, I spoke with a few of my friends there in the Pacific Northwest who are part of the firefighting community, and they are just absolutely devastated and in shock. This is totally unexpected.
Yeah, and when you hear the real-time call for help and that the firefighters on the ground believe that it was set and they were drawn in, I mean, that's so jarring to know that they're taking incoming fire and they're telling the world what they think has happened. If you'll allow me, Emily, I want to save some of my time for you, John.
Yeah, it's a whole lot.
Is this domestic terrorism?
We don't know yet. I think what we need to...
I find it to be unlikely that it's domestic terrorism. Terrorism is generally for a political means. Shooting firefighters, it seems unlikely. Yeah, and also, by the way, terrorism is very simple. It's violence for a political means. I don't think that, like, because firefighters are one of the least politicized groups in terms of a government apparatus, I think that making, like, assuming that it's because of them being firefighters, it's terrorism, I think that's just illogical. That's all. And also, like, I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying you shouldn't start with that as a premise.
Have is a full investigation. Unfortunately, we have to know everything about him and his background. In the short term, we need to understand, is it terrorism? Is anybody helping him? Was anybody working with him? That's why the FBI is there, to see if this is part of a larger conspiracy.
Of course they're terrorists.
And then I think we have to figure out ways to punish people like this to stop them, because I totally agree.
Well, he's dead.
We have people
solved.
rushing in to save people's lives. Now they have to worry about people shooting at them. So we have to figure out ways to deter people from ever doing this in the future.
You can't.
If there are people helping him, he's 20 years old apparently, if his parents should have known, then Unfortunately, they have to be investigated.
You cannot expect the parents to know. Like, come on.
Too, it reminds me of cases of minors who've had guns and done school shootings.
He's not a minor.
And we have had to punish the parents for not reporting them if they've stolen guns, if they shouldn't have had weapons. I think we have to do that kind of full field investigation here too. In the longer run, we have to think about culture. Shouldn't people be condemning the shooter and praising the firefighters?
Right.
Well,
all of that is
We're going to talk, I think, later about people who won't condemn terrible speech. At the very least, our politicians should be able to condemn.
Whoa, what are we doing? Whoa.
This kind of conduct.
Well, and you hit the reason why I asked that question. Are there add-ons legally if it's a certain category of crime? And you're right, it's too soon to know, but you answered that. Yeah, so we know that there will be, depending on what this is.
Yeah, and there's always enhancements that can be put on line and weight and the like. And I note too, first of all, it's a smaller community there, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. It's rural, it's a tight-knit community, and the first responder community is still reeling from the loss from the deaths there to the firefighters from the fires a few years ago. So this is a community that is still suffering from that. And then to have an ambush occur, it just absolutely defies logic, and it really shocks the conscience, Marie.
Emily, I agree. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw this. Think about what the firefighting community has been through. In Idaho...
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll pull up this guy, and I'll find out and see if there's any information about what's this guy's name? I want to go ahead and look at it. His name is fucking retard? Yeah, I guess so. Man, let's see if there's any information about this. Here's your anti-law enforcement connection. Wes Rowley's father is a member of the Hooligans Outlaw Biker Club. The suspect is shooting, killed 2 Idaho firefighters, and injured is a 20-year-old Wes Foley. Okay, let's see if I can find this. And again, this is all suspected. It's not 100% certain yet. He's had a prior arrest for assault in 2024. The incident involved him allegedly attacking a woman with a knife, in which he was charged with a felony assault with a deadly weapon. He pleaded guilty for misdemeanor assault and received a sentence of 180 days in jail with 150 days suspended. He was ordered to undergo a mental health evaluation and complete anger management classes. Social media activity, particularly on X, revealed disturbing content. He posted about his disdain for authority figures, including police and firefighters, and expressed radical views, and posts included threats and general hostility towards society. Additionally, he was known to have made threats against his family, leading to a no-contact order being issued against them. See, this is what I was talking about. This person should have been locked up as soon as they went after a woman with a knife. And then you have you have a person that, and these are two, this is exactly what I'm trying to talk about, right? Is that this is a person who, went after and tried to stab somebody with a knife, and also has a no-contact order with their family. This person should have been locked up in a padded room, and this should have never happened. And now 2 people are dead because of the supposed empathy that we have for psychopathic parasites like this freak. And luckily, he killed himself, so we're not going to have to pay for him to stay in jail for the rest of his life. He did us a favor. But the problem is that there's going to be another one like this, and it's going to happen again. Until people can stop these problems and have the unedited photo. Yeah, this is the person, right? I mean, I don't know. I had hair like this whenever I was, a teenager, kind of, or 20. The photos me, I think domestic terror, you think? No, I don't think so. Live press conference happening? Well, I don't know if there's that. Let me see if I can pull it up right now, and I'll see it. And so, yeah, same. Yeah, exactly, right. I would have hair like that now, but that's not really the case, I'm sorry to say. And what is this here? Let me see if I can find it. But, yeah, I don't know where the rest of the information is on this. So, yeah, discover I'm age and not be posting about his family unless I need to. So, where is he headed and for how long? This part mother is really our mom. I don't know where this is here. This is some other bullshit. He has a tree service. Okay, that's not really very relevant. And since it's public, May 2025, mom and new boyfriend take a trip to Greece.
Introducing the Hyundai Ioniq 9 all-electric 3-row SUV with up to 539 kilometers of range.
This is a nice setup you have here.
Oh,
nice.
Nice. A lot of people ask how NICE became the leader in AI-powered customer experience. And yes, we have an incredible AI platform, but honestly, our secret sauce is Kristen Bell.
Kristen has an abnormally high baseline for niceness. We tested it repeatedly.
You've just been transferred for the 4th time.
I love meeting new people. It says your package has arrived, but you can't find it. Ooh, a mystery.
You get to the restaurant, but they've given away your reservation.
Takeout and dinner at home? Even better. Your friend is late for lunch. No, I was early. That's on me.
Someone's driving too slow.
They probably have a birthday cake in the back. Someone's driving too fast. They probably have a pregnant woman in the back.
You've now been on hold for 45 minutes.
Jamming to royalty-free music, baby. I have an apple or a banana. Thank God I had toilet paper. And if I hadn't lost that job, I would have never started hula dancing. She doesn't break.
I'm just drawing hearts now.
Me too. We're creating a nicer world with the nicest human on Earth. No, you are. No, you are. No, you are. No, you are. You're gonna love this game. I got every question right.
What the fuck is
Love her.
Ads. These ads are
A trip to DC without Westphal, Rolly. I'm thinking this kid might have had problems with mom's new life. All I can tell you is
Hey YouTube, what's going on? Today is actually going to be a little bit different from my normal videos. Unfortunately, a content creator by the name of Ludwig has invoked my name. And Ludwig has enough viewers where I'll actually give a fuck. Because blasting me in front of that many people, well, obviously I gotta say something, right? Obviously I gotta say something. So we're gonna say something. Now, I would like to pretense this. I know there's a lot of people who don't like Ludwig right now. I know that that's how it is. And I know for me, it's very beneficial for me to say, oh, I fucking hate Ludwig. The guy's a piece of shit. The guy's a rat. And to be honest, I did say the rat, but that's just for clickbait. That's just for views. You know how that goes. To be completely honest, I was actually a big fan of Ludwig for quite a while. To be honest, I still think he's honestly a pretty okay guy. Not really as much as he used to be, but honestly, I got no issues with the guy. But recently, I did a little bit of calling him out. I did a little bit of calling him out because the events that occurred on his stream made me a little bit sick. They made me a little bit upset, and it shook me to my core. And the reason why it bothered me so much is due to the fact that I had that pre-existing respect for Ludwig, that pre-existing affinity for Ludwig. I mean, I even used to steal the guy's thumbnails and titles. Absolutely, I 100% did. I used to consume his content all the time. I watched that whole damn subathon when he was sleeping in that race car bed. And I think a lot of people are currently disappointed in Ludwig's actions. And the fact that he won't take accountability for them is honestly quite disheartening. We're going to break this down bit by bit. I'm going to show you the call out. The reason why I'm making this video, I was going to make one and leave it alone because I don't really consider Ludwig a threat to the streaming space like I do other people that I frequently make content on. I'm not a guy who wants drama with anybody and everybody. I never want to be that drama at all. I just want to correct the bully's behavior in this space, which is why I like calling out all of the problematic people, the people giving people false accusations, false allegations, promoting terrorism, saying horrific things about people's dead relatives, implying that people are criminals on baseless claims. Those are the people that I consider threats. However, Ludwig was a very, very, very small man yesterday, so let's go ahead and talk about it. And I want to make this very clear. Ludwig, if you do see this, and this does hurt your feelings, I mean, I guess it is what it is. I want to let you know, I'm not sitting here talking about false accusations. I'm not sitting here talking about false allegations. I'm not doing anything speculative. What I am doing right now is I'm doing a thorough breakdown on objectively what you did that is on stream that is proven by your own actions. If you want to make a follow-up video shit-talking me, you're more than welcome to. If you want to make a video talking about all of the horrible shit that everybody fucking does that's been pulled out of their ass, you're more than welcome to. You want to stay away from drama, and sure, I don't know if Hassan will approve of you making that video, but if you do get your daddy's permission, then sure, go ahead, you can do that. That's a little bit of a joke. I know that probably pissed you off. But let's go ahead and get into this shit right now. So, last night, Ludwig goes live with CDawg VA. He goes ahead and he says this.
Enable game chat. It's actually one of my greatest pleasures.
Now, I would like to pretense this with CDawg VA is currently 1-3. They're losing very hard. The enemy is up 7 kills. They're both probably miserable as fuck. And as well as they're playing League of Legends, which means they're most likely on suicide watch enough as it is. I don't know how much money you would have to pay me to play League of Legends on stream. Jesus Christ, haven't done that in years. but usually this is how you know someone has chronic clinical depression. Yeah, oh, you can't hear it? Great, let me pull up another clip then.
Enable game chat.
0 sugar and 0 carbs. Meet natural flavor. Neutral. Refreshingly simple.
It's actually one of my greatest pleasures that I get to die never having to speak to these people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like a Tectone video. I can die never watching one.
It sounds to me like somebody may or may not have watched my video. I know. Ludwig, the thing that's really a shame, and what I don't know if you'll actually believe me for, is that the original video was called Ludwig is a disgusting, filthy, lying rat. I, who have a conscience, just changed it to be Ludwig is a rat. And I think you'd agree after watching this video that me calling you what you are isn't an insult. I'm trying to make you aware of your own actions, not things that I've speculated upon, but things that you have actually done. Not 4 years ago, not 5 years ago, 2 days ago, to one of your closest friends. Now, you expressed that you'd rather kill yourself than watch one of my videos. Well, Ludwig, I have a feeling you sound a lot like somebody who's watched one of my videos. And by the way, if you're here watching my video right now, make sure to press like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for all notifications. Let's keep going here.
So true. It's a good life. It's a good life that I get.
I know. Sea-Dog being a bro, backing up his homie, who's clearly tilted. You know what's really funny, Lud? Trash Taste, Sea-Dog, VA, Joey, Giga, they actually invited me on Trash Taste way back in the day. Do you know that Joey used to watch my content on Arc Nights every single day? I actually have a lot of respect for the Trash Taste crew, but I do think it was funny that Sea-Dog said so true. Obviously cheering on a good old buddy in League of Legends. Some people want me to be angry at that, but I just won't. I've met up with Sea-Dog and VA in real life, and I still like the guy a little bit, even if he was taking a little bit of shit talk at me. He hasn't really done anything fucked up, so I don't feel like the need to go in on him. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's keep going here. I don't really thrive for drama, and I hope that you believe me here. If I was, I would say, man, Ludwig and Sea-Dog VA, they really crossed the line, and now we're crashing out. Yeah, I'm just not really interested in doing that, Ludwig. This isn't me farming you for clicks. This is me showing a man who has fucked up. And we're now 7 minutes into this video. We're going to get in here even more. We're going to keep going here.
It's a really healthy life. It is. It is.
Great. So you said that you would rather kill yourself than watch one of my videos, and that's not really cool to say. So let me tell you why you had this very small, very petty little boy behavior on your stream. And that is because you are now facing the consequences of your own actions, where you have fucked up, and once again, you are skirting accountability, and you completely threw over one of your friends under the bus after you completely fucked over his life. And I mean this genuinely, Ludwig. You completely butt-fucked Mango's entire life. Now, I want to make this very clear. Did Mango fuck up? Absolutely. 100%. Of course he did. Everybody knows he did. And he is responsible for his own actions. Now, a lot of you guys, and this is the reason why I'm making this video, a lot of you guys say Ludwig is not responsible for someone else's actions in his event. This is a good counter argument that a lot of people say. Because play devil's advocate. A lot of you guys might think, well, that's Mango. It's not Ludwig's fault. He's not responsible for anybody else's actions. And for some people, you might agree. Some people might say no. Some people might say yes. Do you know who would disagree with that very take? Do you know who would disagree that you are not responsible for someone else's actions? Ludwig himself. And this is why we're talking about this here today. The only person responsible for someone's actions is the someone that did the action. If little Timmy sees a video of a guy eating a fuckload of Takis and faking domestic violence, and then eats a fuckload of Takis and slaps his crush, Timmy is responsible, not the other guy. I just said your argument is weak. Fight someone else in the comments. How is it weak, bro? Nobody is responsible for what random idiots do but the idiot that did it. The fact that you seem to think that you have this much pull and control over randos that roll up to his stream says more about ego than anything else, to which Ludwig responded, I think there's a lot of good arguments for not having responsibility. I just specifically think mentioning a 1 in 100,000 extreme cases proof of why that should be the case is weak. Weak argument equals weak stance. It's not weak, it's true. You aren't responsible for what randoms do unless you specifically say, hey, go do unshit in my name. Ludwig, you have actively fought people who said that you aren't responsible for someone else's actions. You believe that you are responsible for someone else's actions. By the way, this was in regards to chat policing. This was in place for community policing, saying that a streamer is in control of their chat and a streamer is in control of their community, and they should dictate what that chat and community should do. So if you believe a streamer is in charge of their chat, randoms on the internet, why the fuck do you think you're not responsible for taking care of one of your best friends in a weakened state around alcohol that you know is his vice, a suffering alcoholic in a public, on-display format in front of hundreds of thousands of people? Ludwig, if you had a fucking spine, you would understand that you fucked up bringing Mango into that situation. You need to wake the up. Because if you are going to say that a streamer is in charge of their chat, yes, the streamer host should be fucking taking care of the people in their community. Ludwig, you invited a known alcoholic of 10 years to an alcohol abusing festival, and you cheered for this. Ready for this?
So apparently,
you cheered for a alcoholic blowing a .32. You need to see this, okay? The legal limit in America is a .08. Ludwig, he was 4 times over that in the .3 to .4 zone of alcohol poisoning and loss of consciousness. Once he got to a .32, you say, and I quote, let's get those numbers up. At .4, he was at .32. At .4, it is potentially fatal, risk of coma and death. At .3, you have alcohol poisoning, loss of consciousness, altered mood, reduced reaction time, slurred speech, slowed thinking, nausea, vomiting, loss of balance. This isn't drama, Ludwig. This is you putting streamers' lives at risk for content. He blacked the fuck out. Even his tweets show he has no idea what the fuck happened. He doesn't even remember the night's events. He doesn't even remember doing anything. He was that fucked up, and you encouraged that. Now, some people are saying that he got to a .37 later in the party. I cannot verify that. I cannot find the clip, so I don't want to weigh in on that. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to go in on what people are accusing you of. I am only going to talk about what is in front of me. And you putting someone else's life at risk is not good, especially someone who you considered one of your best friends. And here's the worst thing, Ludwig. You can't act like you didn't fucking know. And the reason why you can't act that way is because multiple streamers warned you to not fucking invite him.
Mango was saying that shit earlier.
Mango's been practicing drinking beer for a week.
Okay, Mango is like an alcoholic. Mango can drink 30 beers.
You said, and I quote, Mango is an alcoholic. Should I invite an alcoholic to a beer drinking party? Is it okay for a recovering alcoholic to drink? For some recovering alcoholics, the safe course remains complete abstention, avoiding not just the chemical, but also the psychological triggers associated with alcohol consumption. Well, there we go. That's what Google thinks. Yeah, Ludwig, we shouldn't invite a fucking alcoholic with a known alcohol issue to a beer drinking party. You invited this person personally. And it's like, dude, I literally feel like I'm talking to a child right now. Like, I hate how in big 2025, you're 29 years old. We're pretty much the same age. I'm 31. Now, according to the internet, I'm dead in the dirt, and you still got 1 year left to live. Because once you're 30, then you're fucking dead. That's just how the fucking world works. This is the thing that I don't understand when people tell me, oh, well, now you're covering politics. I'm not covering politics, guys. I'm covering common fucking sense. I don't know how someone is this bitter at me due to the fact that I said, hey, man, Don't invite your recovering alcoholic buddy to a beer drinking party. Encourage him at a 0.25 to drink more. Encourage him at a 0.32 to drink more, getting him to a near fatal level of alcoholism. And then when he does things he doesn't remember, then you throw him underneath the bus. Guys, is now permanently banned on Twitch. He's been removed from C9, which he was like one of the original members. As well as, there was one other thing, and now he's banned from all future Ludwig events, meaning after the severe hit in his career, there is no way for him to have a bounce back.
And act the same he does off no beers. He's a machine of a man.
He said he had 7 beers already today.
If you ask him how many beers he's had lifetime, it's probably above 10,000.
Is this event enabling him?
He's the
Valkyrie says, and I quote, "And when someone looks at you like this, with a concerned look like this, isn't this event enabling him?" What did you respond with?
He's a two-time champion. He's never lost.
You completely skirt the question and you say, well, he's the 2-time champion. Yeah, I would imagine an alcoholic is the champion of an alcohol party. Yes. Now let's keep going here. Now maybe you didn't know what his actions were. Maybe you didn't see him getting crazy. Maybe you didn't see him going over the edge. Maybe you didn't see a weird part of him being unlocked and party on 4K on thousands of people's streams. Maybe you just didn't see, and this is why you're ragging this way after the fact. Oh, let's watch this clip real quick.
Well, apparently everyone's just trying to run it here because we got drinks and it's easy to set up.
I'm down. Hi, man.
His eyes are glazed over. His speech is slurred. He's in an environment where his shirts are off because you thought of a great idea that it should be shirts versus skins. He's immediately trying to touch women. You push him away. He comes closer. You know he's being weird. It's right in front of you. You know he's being weird. He's still being fucking weird.
It was fun. I was loving it. I love Borderlands 4. But this was the best day ever.
You push him away again. You then try to block him off from Extra Emily. You know very well that he is completely far gone. You know very well he's being weird as fuck. You know very well he's smacking on bitches' heads. You know he's gone. You know he's blazed. You know he's over the limit. What you should have done, and it's very obvious, and I hate saying this, and you're the one who said that you should be responsible for your own community. If you did not say that, this video would not be being made. I would say, okay, Ludwig doesn't give a fuck. Clearly, you are trying to give the illusion that you give a fuck. It's a song saying, and I quote, "Ludwig calculates the most friendly, non-offensive takes of all time." Well, in this non-offensive take, where you said that everybody was responsible for the Twitch chat community, you need to be responsible for what happens at your parties. You know he was being weird. You chose to keep him on the stream because he's the 2-time champion. You need him for content. You need him for views. You need to make this event epic. And you know he was being weird as shit. You couldn't have just said, hey man, you're too fucked up. Called him an Uber and got him out of there. You kept him live on this shit. You know he was being weird the entire fucking time. And his life is now completely weird. Now, obviously, I know there's some things that happen to your dad. I'm not going to bring those up. There's a lot of people who want me to bring those up, and you know what I'm going to say, and I'm not going to say it. Because I don't feel like crossing that boundary. But if anybody should know the effect of alcoholism, it should be you. You should know damn well how bad that is. And it's a shame, rather than showing any remorse, you say, fuck Mango, he's never invited.
This multiplayer horror game is doing something.
You set Bro up for disaster. And you know it. You know it. You took an alcoholic. You brought it to your party. You were warned to not do this. You were questioned. Hey, isn't this enabling? Your other friend said, hey, the amount of alcohol he's drinking is very dangerous. We should stop. You say, no, we need to get those numbers up. You get it to a 0.32. Black out levels of alcoholism. He acts weird. You see it being weird. You don't step step in, you don't remove him, you let him continue when he doesn't know what's going on, and now his life is ruined forever. You could have apologized. You could have maybe helped him get into a